Hello, all. This is Brenda. I'm doing a support group tonight for the Ahaja Bariatric Club. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hi if you're here joining us. Love to hear from you. Let me know if you're pre-op, if you're post-op, or if you're just thinking about having weight loss surgery. This will be recorded and we will be placing this on your Facebook page. So if you need to jump off at any point, hi Jackie, so glad you're here. We will have the recording available later also as well. So just want to say hi. You guys, this is going to be a fun one. I remember before having weight loss surgery, for those of you who don't know me, I had it back in 2013 and had the sleeve gastrectomy. And it's been a wonderful tool. I'll tell you a little bit more about my journey here in a little bit. But the topic today is 12 strategies for ordering or eating out after weight loss surgery. And I feel like this was a big struggle point, scary point, I guess, for me when having weight loss surgery, because it's one of my most fun things to do before having surgery is going out to eat, socializing, spending time with family and friends. And that has not changed. So if that worries you at all, like it did me, um, there's so many different things to think about and to do to make it much easier for you when making decisions and choices when going out to eat. And so, that's the main thing is like focusing on that fun part. And we're going to hit some high points. We're going to talk about strategies and how you can leave restaurants feeling confident, more comfortable, and just basically building it into your lifestyle so that you feel really good about that. We do have some handouts that are available with this event. And so I'm going to pop on to the ProCare Health website. I am sponsored by ProCare Health, which is a vitamin and supplement company, and that those vitamins are also carried in your doctor's office and clinic. So you can always reach out to them, guys, and actually get them, you know, easily through your clinic setting. Let me share my screen here, and I'm going to show you the website here. It is going to pop on here just a second. It's www.procarenow.com. Okay, www.procarenow.com. When you get to the website, you're going to see a big logo that says ProCare Health. And then under the little drop down button that says resources, which is halfway across the page here, there's a little drop down that says support group handouts. And I'm going to show you where you can get the presentation from today's event so that later on you'll have it as something to resource. So when you click onto that page, the page is going to look like this. And basically the handout itself is a little bit about halfway down. I just did Control F and typed in eating so that I could find it a little quicker. So you'll see everything that's outlined eating is in bold here. So eating out after surgery and strategies when eating out, that's where you're going to find it. But this is a great page, guys, if you're interested in finding additional resources, maybe some recipes. We have all different kinds of bold areas of bariatric life, nutrition, eating. We have things on vitamins and supplements. Obviously, that's our specialty at ProCare Health. We have things on mental health, mindset. We also have tools on physical activity and fitness, lifestyle tools. When we do a support group, we usually will take the presentation and make it available at some point. Either the presentation or basically some tools that we've talked about. So we have lots and lots of resources here. We also have some of our guest speaker presentations on here as well. So check that out after the event today because I'll be pulling up that handout and kind of sharing that with you so you don't have to worry about that. Also want to just say a big shout out to ProCare Health. Guys, if you've not heard of ProCare Health, they are one of the least expensive vitamins out there on the market. They do follow what we call the ASMBS guidelines, which helps to make sure that you're getting the appropriate vitamin necessities post weight loss surgery. Or if you're on a GLP-1, maybe you've done both. But if you're on medication therapy, it's possible that you're not getting all the supplements you need. We do have lots of different things between multivitamins. We have some GLP-1 support, which is support medication that you can take along with your GLP-1 or even instead of, if you're just wanting something to help with blood sugar support and cravings, we have stuff for calcium. We have lots of therapeutics like probiotics. We also have uh, trying to think, magnesium, biotin, vitamin D, all different kinds of fun things. And I'll kind of come back here towards the end again and kind of share some other resources here too as well. So that is a little bit about ProCare. We're going to jump into the presentation. Just want to say, if at any point, stop sharing my screen, if at any point during this presentation you guys do have questions, put them in the chat feature. If you are listening later to the replay and you'd like to have, you have a question or comment, be sure and put it in there. You can even type in replay or whatever you want. I do kind of monitor those comments on the replays just to kind of see who's listening and know a little bit about you guys because you're close to home. ProCare Health Office is located in St. Peters, Missouri, so it's just across the river. And I am located in Perryville, Missouri, which is south of there. So I'm probably like a little closer than what the ProCare office is. So not very far away and close at home. So exciting, exciting. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, and I'm going to be jumping onto the actual presentation itself. So let's see here. We have it pulled up. Actually, that's the agenda. Let's see. Here it is right here. Okay. So I basically told you what our presentation topic is. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I have been in the nursing, I'm a nurse. I've been in the medical field for as long as I can remember. I'm going to say about 35 years. I worked emergency room medicine for about 20 some years. I did quality management. Bariatric surgery has been the last role that I've been in, and it has been the last since about 2010, so about 15 years. Literally have seen thousands of patients pre and post-op surgery. And also, now, like I said, now we're kind of getting into a lot of medication therapies like GLP-1s and things like that. So have met so many amazing, incredible people throughout their journey. And my hope is just to kind of share some of the things that I've learned through my own journey, and then also just talking with patients and learning more about them and what their needs are. And so this topic today with ordering or eating out hopefully will help you feel more comfortable. Now, I know that we have some of you on the call. Let me know if you're pre-op or post-op or if you're just considering surgery. I'd love to know because it helps me. It helps me know how to filter in this topic. So I will try to include all of those different phases as we kind of go through this. So the very first one, so we have 12 of them, and I'm going to be pausing at moments just for any kind of comments that might be coming in. This first one here, strategies when ordering or eating out, is the number one thing, planning ahead. And whatever that looks like for you, okay? I know for me, sometimes I'll get on and I'll look at the menu, I'll look and see what kind of items they have, what might interest me. Also, it could be if you have the ability to make a decision, you're in that decision process of what places look better, being able to investigate and research that a little bit ahead of time can be helpful. Sometimes it may be that you're invited out with family or friends, and so you may not have always that choice, but if you do, you can kind of look and see what things might be best. Also, don't be afraid to bring something from home, especially if you're on that early pre-op, maybe you're on a liquid phase or early post-op. There may not be a whole lot on the menu that you can have. And if that's the case, don't be afraid if you're going, just go to socialize and be around your family and friends. Believe it or not, it may not be as tempting as you might think it is when you're focused on the people around you. And I know for me, I've actually brought protein shakes in. I've brought my own selections. And if the staff there say anything, you can always just say, I'm on a strict diet right now that I have to abide by. And so I'm just ordering water or whatever else you decide to drink. Okay. Um, don't feel like you have to go in hungry either. I can remember so many years going by and thinking, I want to save up for this meal because I want to have as much as I can. After weight loss surgery, that can be problemsome because for me, whenever I'm hungry, a lot of times I'll eat a little faster, I'll take bigger bites, and then I make myself miserable. Keep your blood sugar more regulated throughout the day so that you're not going in and feeling like you're just scarfing, like eating mindlessly and not being able to really focus on the food and eat what you need to eat. Because you're only going to be able to put so much in after surgery. Your stomach size is so small. And so you may feel like you're filling up very quickly, and especially if you're overly hungry. I know for me, I tend to eat fast whenever I'm hungry, and I have to make myself slow down. Also, if you're going in and you're planning, you may want to think about what you're really wanting to eat. If you end up eating some of the things that they bring in the beginning, like the complimentary appetizers, like chips or bread or things like that, if that's what you want, then that's okay. But just realize that may be all that you're going to be able to eat after weight loss surgery. Also, there's nothing wrong with asking for a to-go box, even up front. Sometimes I will actually do that because I want to like divide my food in half or maybe even a fourth because your portion sizes a lot of times are so huge. And ask for a to-go box so that you can actually take the food and actually put it in a to-go box and set it over to the side right after you get it. Or you can ask for one later. Either one is great because a lot of times it is hard. The portion sizes nowadays are just ridiculous. It's just very large. Number two here, be familiar with menu descriptions. And while this probably likely sounds pretty intuitive, meaning that that's probably something that you already know, like fried foods are going to be higher fat. They may actually not go well with your little post-surgery stomach. So just if you're early on, like trying new ways of eating, just be careful and just slide into that slowly as opposed to going in and just eating like you normally did before surgery. Things that are poached or roasted or boiled or steamed or stir fried are generally lower in fat, may sit better in your stomach. They may not fill you up as quickly, and you might be able to eat more higher quality of that amount of food. That's the thing. It's like the amount that you're going to be able to take in is going to be low. So, like, really focusing in on the quality of the foods is helpful because if you eat something, and I'm not saying I haven't done this before, but if you eat something that's fried, like let's say fried fish, there's different varieties of fried fish, for example. Some of them are coated with like a very um, light coating that might be just really thin and just barely covers the fish. Whereas some of them I've gotten and they have like half an inch of coating or maybe even more than that. And you're eating mostly breaded, fried, whatever it is. So it does make a difference, and how that sets on your stomach and how it makes you feel can be very different. So menu descriptions can be helpful if you're not really sure. Don't be afraid to ask. That's what I do. I usually will say, "Hey, can you explain to me what the breading looks like?" Or most recently, I was ordering off a menu and they actually had onions, fried onions, and there's very much difference between how onions are sometimes fried if they're just without coating, with coating, and that type of thing. So ask, and you don't know unless you ask. Also, don't be afraid to give direction on preparation of foods. You could ask them to put your salad dressings on the side. Potentially, you could ask them for substitutions. So, like something comes with, like, let's say you're ordering fish and it comes with some kind of like fried potato or something like that. You can always ask them for green beans or broccoli or slaw or whatever it is that you would rather have on the side rather than what it comes with. So be aware that you do have the ability to do that. Also, like let's say you're eating Mexican and you're wanting to, a lot of the entrees are carried with rice, which Some people do well with rice after bariatric surgery. Some people do not as well. The reason being is rice is one of those things that once it hits liquid, it actually will increase in size. It swells up. Kind of like when you put rice, when you're making it yourself, you put it in water and you allow it to boil and it expands. Okay. So the same thing when you put that in your stomach, and sometimes people will tolerate that well, some people don't. So if I go Mexican, a lot of times instead of ordering rice, I'll order refried beans, and I'll do that instead of the rice. So substitutions are something that's okay. Also paying attention to um, the menu highlights. Many times they will have a lower calorie or healthier items with like a star by them, or like Applebee's menu has a little apple. And so that you know like which items you can like immediately go to and look at. And the newest thing is a lot of restaurants will now have calorie content. So that you can look at how many grams of protein, how many grams of fat, all of that if you're paying attention to macros. It's not that important, but if it is important to you, that's something that you can kind of compare foods to see which one might be a better choice for you when you're making choices. Any questions so far? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to kind of keep going. And prioritizing your protein. So I talked about this a little bit before when I said quality proteins. Just like quality shakes, like when you're pre-op or early post-op, the type of shakes you're going to be drinking, like looking at how much protein is in them per ounces. If it's a pre-made shake, it may be that you're getting a serving size of like 12 ounces with 25 grams of protein. Okay. If you are making it yourself and you're adding a lot of extra liquid in there, guys, like let's say it's a 24 ounce and your early post-op and your protein scoop had 12 grams of protein, you're not going to be getting the same amount as you did with the other. So just be aware it's the same when you're looking at protein. If it has a lot of breading in it and you're taking off the breading to try to get to the main protein source, um, may not be as much as what you'd like. So just be aware and kind of look at that when you're looking at the type of protein. If it's boiled or baked or steamed or anything like that, maybe a great source. And a lot of times it'll even have how many ounces it is. But making that as your priority and maybe even eating that first. So at least a fourth to a half your plate. Um, Dietitians don't always agree on the exact amount of how much, depending on your program and that type of thing. But I'd say if you like look at your plate and at least a half to a fourth of your plate is the protein that you're eating, then that's a good way to look at it. Okay. It's going to help you keep more satisfied and it's going to help you not feeling overly hungry. It's going to keep your blood sugar from going way up. So, like, let's say you go into a restaurant and you first focus on the potatoes or whatever, depending on what kind of carb you're eating, some of those might spike up your blood sugar pretty quickly and give you a boost of energy, but make you allow you later to be feeling very tired and draggy. If you have a quality carb along with a quality protein, it's going to keep your blood sugar at a more stable rate and it's going to keep you feeling better throughout the day, throughout the evening, not making you feel overly full. So options that are lean and high in protein might even be like appetizers. I've ordered off the appetizer menu before because a lot of times it's smaller portions and ordered something like shrimp. Entrees can be things like eggs, chicken, fish, beans, or tofu. So, any questions so far? We'll kind of keep going. Um, Something was in my mind and just went away. So I'll bring that back when that comes back. Serving sizes. Serving sizes vary from restaurant to restaurant, depending on where you're going to. And it seems to me, and maybe it's just here in the Midwest, portion sizes keep getting larger and larger and larger and larger. It's crazy. Um, You can also request a child's portion. Some bariatric programs do offer something and they call a restaurant card, which have identified you as having weight loss surgery. You can check with your program there and see if they have something like that. If not, you can even just tell them, I've had surgery. You can tell them if you feel comfortable, I've had weight loss surgery. The size of my stomach is drastically decreased. Do you offer child's portions for your customers? If they don't, they'll just say no. And if they do, that's great because have a lot of smaller sizes. In fact, I went to a conference. It's probably been about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It was in New Orleans and it was an obesity conference. And I was at a restaurant or actually I was at the hotel and I was ordering in room service. And on the menu, it actually had an adult size, um, sorry guys, my alarms are going off. It had an adult size breakfast and then it had a child's portion breakfast. In wording, they were identically the same. The price difference was like $5. Identical the same. Same amount of eggs, same amount of potatoes, same amount of everything. So I'm like, what is up with this? I just asked them, I said, can I order the child's portion? And they said, yes, yeah, we'll put that on the thing. So they sent it to me. And it was I still had more than half of my food left, even with the child's portion. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. So don't be afraid to ask. Also, save a portion. Again, you could put it in a to-go container. I've also ordered, sometimes if you don't order a drink, sometimes they'll just keep asking you, do you want something to drink? Or maybe they will keep coming by and like wanting to refill whatever you have. I've learned too, sometimes I'll even ask them, can I just have my drink in a to-go container, whether I order water or a tea? Because what happens is, and I'm sure your program has probably talked to you about this, when you drink and you eat at the same time, a lot of times if you're drinking, it will fill up your stomach. And honestly, it's very hard to eat the food that you're eating. So that's why a lot of times they'll recommend waiting 30 minutes between drinking and then eating your food, and same after eating to wait 30 minutes to drink. Another reason for that is when you liquefy the things that are in your stomach, a lot of times they will pass through more quickly, which could ultimately leaving you hungrier after you eat, meaning that things are being washed through your stomach more quickly and it can allow you to later eat more. Um, Hope that makes sense. I will say for me, if I go into a restaurant and I plan on having a drink, um, I know I'm not going to be eating as much because my stomach just fills up so quickly. So if I end up having something to drink and then having a little appetizer, that's usually all I can do. If I'm wanting to focus in and make sure I'm getting the protein that I want, the quality foods that I want, then I have to skip those other two. It's all about decisions and choices, guys, like what you want. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about the alcohol piece here in a little bit because that comes up a lot with these conversations. So that is one of these slides, and we're going to talk about that. Also ask about preparation. This kind of goes into what we talked about earlier and how ingredients things can be cooked differently. So I'm not going to really talk a lot about this, but certain sauces or dressings can add to extra calories depending on how they're made. Also, things that may be lower in calories might be a great choice to put on your food so that if you're wanting something to add a little extra taste or flavor, like mustard, pickle relish, balsamic vinegar, or salsa, those things might tend to be a little less in calories and not fill you up as much either as well. For me, if I'm ordering a salad and I want to cut back on my dressings, the fat content, a lot of times I'll order salsa and mix a ranch dressing with the salsa, and you kind of get a Southwest type effect. It's really good. I'd love to know if any of you guys have any suggestions that you've done when doing maybe condiments that are lower in calories and that have helped you in some way as far as that piece. Some other things too, that I found is if I take, like, let's say I order a hamburger, I'm going to more of a fast food restaurant. If I'm ordering a hamburger meal, I'll take the bun off and just eat the hamburger portion with the cheese. Or a sandwich, I'll take the bread off and just eat the meat portion. You're not really losing anything because you're getting still the protein. And honestly, you can usually eat a little more because of the meat, because of that. So that's something that's really helped me. Okay. Also, substitutes here. We talked a little bit earlier. In place of rice or pasta, you could add a side salad or a steamed vegetable. Um, Creamy soups can tend to be heavier in your stomach and take up a little bit more space, fill you up quicker. So you could do something more light, like a broth based, for example, maybe chicken and noodle soup, or maybe at Chinese restaurants, a lot of times they'll have like an egg drop soup or something like that. Those are good. You know, you could even remove the egg drops if you want to just eat the broth. Also, milk options. There's a lot of different milk options out there now. And I'm not just talking milk, like almond milk, oat milk, those type of things that you can substitute, especially on restaurants like Starbucks and places like that. If you take a Starbucks drink and you order oat milk or almond milk, can totally change the flavor and taste of it. I personally like it better. I've kind of, since bariatric surgery, for whatever reason, have developed a little bit of a lactose intolerance. That's not uncommon after weight loss surgery. So that's something I would also suggest if you run into that post-surgery. Um, Also, there's different kinds of oils and butters and things like that. And olive oil or some of your other forms might be a little lighter on your stomach as well. Okay. Number 7 here. 7 is skipping surplus calories. So what I mean by that is breading a lot of times can add a lot of extra calories. Whenever I eat pizza, for example, I'll get a thin crust, the thinnest crust that I can possibly get. And then I'll eat toppings off the pizza hut because a lot of times that has your proteins and some of your veggies in it. And then I'll eat a little bit of the crust, or just throw my crust away, especially if it's a thick crust, just because it is so overly filling and I don't like feeling that way, overly filled. Also, instead of eating bread or chips, you could eat saltine crackers or low-fat crackers. So, like, let's say they serve on the tabletop before your meal, uh, a bread of some sort. You could always ask for crackers or something like that. Hey, Sarah, I see you're joining too. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the support group. Um, Also, unnecessary snacking. So let's say you do order an appetizer and that's all you can eat. Then instead of having to feel like you have to eat the whole thing, you can actually take a couple bites, allow your friend or friends, whoever's eating with you, to share that with you, and take the rest home. Like bring it home with you. Also, dessert. Dessert is one of those things you can skip altogether, or you can pick lower calorie desserts. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here on another slide, but it's all about decisions. Again, it's about choices. Caution at the salad bar. Now, since COVID has kind of hit, I haven't seen it near as many of the salad bars that's been around. So that's kind of been by the wayside. But salad bars are one of those things that typically generally can have a huge mixture of different things. So on the picture here on my screen, you can see eggs, green peppers. It looks like some broccoli and cauliflower. We have some onions. We have some different forms. It looks like this could be an egg or a salad mixture, maybe even like cucumber salad. Could be a macaroni salad over here. We have some type of mixture that looks like a Mexican type of thing with black beans and corn. We have tomatoes. So, when you're picking these things, all of these things have different qualities as far as the food. You have some protein here source. protein with your cheese. Here you have a vegetable source, so you have some vitamins and things like that. So depending on what you choose, like why are you choosing it? Are you wanting to get a little extra nutrients? Are you wanting a little extra protein? So choosing wisely, you might find higher quality proteins. Some of them might be higher than others. Also want to say one thing that I really like to do whenever I'm ordering salads, because you're probably nowadays it seems that they don't have as many salad bars. I'd love to know if you guys have experienced that. It's very rare for me to go to a restaurant anymore that has one. But if you're eating a salad, whether it's on a salad bar or just ordering one, you can, when you ask for the dressing on the side, what I like to do is actually just take my salad and dip it a little bit in the dressing because you can actually monitor how much you're getting of the dressing and putting it in your mouth that way so that you don't have like this huge amount on your salad and again, feeling overly full as well. Here is a picture of my husband, Jeff, and this is us eating in a restaurant when we went for I think it was my sister's birthday, and talking about desserts here. So if you want a dessert, great. Just know that that maybe have to be more part of what your normal meal. You may have to set back and not eat as much as your normal meal. It's all about decisions. If you're wanting, so if you don't want dessert, focus on your meal. If you are wanting dessert, what I would recommend is making sure when you're ordering and when you're eating your foods that you leave a little space because you don't want to get sick or feel uncomfortable after. And a bite or two is probably all that you're probably likely going to want. It's not going to be like wanting a huge dessert unless that's what you're planning to do and skipping the rest of the meal. Um, Sharing with a partner or sharing with friends, a lot of times one bite, it's really that you're craving a lot of times that taste and that texture and just knowing what it tastes like. A lot of times that's even just enough is one bite. So sharing with somebody else. So it could be that if you're just wanting to curb that sweet tooth you have, other things can do that as well. Puddings or fruit or applesauce or any of those kind of things. So like know what you're going into and being intentional about it so that you're not leaving feeling guilty or feeling like you did something that you didn't want to do and sticking to your choices of what you wanted to stick to. Okay, and here's a picture of me and some from my team, Amanda, who is one of our account managers. You may have met her before because she works closely with your bariatric program. This is me. And this is Nick, who's our CEO. He's the owner of ProCare. He's a wonderful guy. You guys would love him. Um, we're going to talk about drinking, and that means whether it's alcohol or non-alcohol. So drinking, as I mentioned earlier, at the same time as you're eating may overfill your stomach. So you want to be really careful about that and mindful of that, being deliberate in your choices. So if you're saying no to drinking anything, you're just focusing in on your entree or whatever it is you're eating. If you're saying yes, again, you're going to want to make space for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. If it's non-alcoholic drinks, things like water, sugar-free tea, black coffee, mocktails, could include even a water infused with fruit. Those are choices that could probably leave you feeling a little better, okay? Not just physically, because of the sugar content and all of those things make you not feel overly full or uncomfortable. Also, emotionally and mentally well, meaning you don't feel like you've done something that is going to make you feel worse afterwards. Alcohol wise, after you've gone through the initial healing period and your bariatric program says it's okay, some suggestions might be drinking alcohol in a way that doesn't get your blood alcohol level spiked up too high. So let's talk about that. Every program is different. Some bariatric programs give you a time frame. They say it's okay to drink after, it could be 6 months, a year, it could be longer, depends on your program, because bariatric surgeons play sometimes into that decision. If they've cleared you for surgery, just be aware that a little bit can go a long ways. Your stomach is smaller and the absorption rate is many times much quicker. And so what used to get you tipsy in the beginning may actually now, after bariatric surgery, leave you feeling intoxication. So one drink, depending on when you're first testing the waters after surgery, depending on wherever that is, however far out that is, what I would recommend is just sips, just trying it out, seeing how you feel, because a little bit can go a long way. Okay. And sip opposed to slugging. Lighter versions that might include light beers. Carbonation is one of those things some programs recommend that it's okay. Some say to avoid carbonation. What happens is those extra little bubbles in there in the carbonation can take up space and leaving you feeling overly full or uncomfortable. So just be aware of that. Hard liquor, things like vodka, gin, or whiskey can be mixed with lighter versions of things that aren't carbonated, like water or lemon or lime, just to kind of give it a little extra flavor, but not overdoing it on the sugar side to leave your blood sugars like going way up. Um, Also, drier wines, those have less sugar content. So just being aware that alcohol in different forms can affect you different ways and knowing how that affects your body. Any questions regarding that, guys? Sometimes questions will come up regarding that. Here's a picture of us at a conference. It was an obesity conference with some of my friends. Here's me right here. My daughter, Madison, that's on the far end here. She actually works for ProCare Health too. And she went with me to one of the conferences. So that's all of us. At this conference, they served water. A lot of times you'll find at obesity conferences or retreats settings for bariatric patients, a lot of times you'll see them serving that kind of thing. Although I have noticed that a lot of them will include alcohol, and just be aware that you may have people after bariatric surgery that decide not to drink. So be mindful of that and be okay with that. Like that's their choice. There is sometimes a cross addiction, they call it, um, after surgery, because people who have had weight loss surgery, sometimes instead of going to food, will go to alcohol. And so sometimes there's a little bit of a cautionary thing there. Some programs will talk about that a little bit, about that cross addiction and just being mindful of it and being careful that it can occur. Okay. And hopefully that's not you that has to struggle with that as being a problem. But alcohol is one of those things. If you have concerns about it, talk to your doctor, your staff. Okay. Number 11, make conversation the focal point. And this is such an important thing because I feel like before surgery, I didn't realize how much that means. After surgery, I realized that being present, being there, talking to the people that you're around, because a lot of times you're finished eating before they are because your portion sizes are so much smaller and you're not going to be eating as much. And so just focusing in on that conversation, making it meaningful. This here was at the bariatric retreat a couple years ago, and just sitting around a bonfire, we actually made some s'mores with the ProCare Health chocolate. That's seasonal. It's a calcium supplement. And we made chocolate s'mores, marshmallows, the chocolate calcium, and graham crackers. And so that was kind of fun. So that was just a picture and just really sitting around just talking and chatting. It's a fun part. And then when you're done, you're done. So set your food and drink aside. A lot of times I'll ask the waitress to come up, take it away from me so I don't have to be tempted by it and have to be thinking about that. And it also helps stop the grazing. I don't know about you guys, but if something's sitting in front of me for whatever reason, I tend to pick at it, even if I'm full, and it makes you uncomfortable. So ask them to just remove it or put it in a to-go box so that you can get it away. And guys, that is the 12 steps. So, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about, just let me go back through these real quick. One was planning ahead. Two was being familiar with menu descriptions. Three was prioritizing your protein, making that a priority. We talked about serving sizes and requesting half or child portions. We talked about ingredients and preparation and like making sure that those are the ones, how it's prepared is what you'd like it to be prepared in. Um, Asking for substitutions when those are available, skipping surplus calories with your appetizers or breads or chips. We talked about caution at the salad bar or ordering salads because they're all made differently. We also talked about being intentional with your desserts or those extras that we're eating and also with your drinks. And then we talked about the second one here is drinks as well. So we'll skip over that and making conversation the focal point. Number 12, which we just talked about, was when you're done, you're done. And I'm going to kind of skip back over to the Procare site because I want to just kind of talk about Procare here a little bit. In the meantime, I would love if any of you are on the live call, if you have questions or any comments, things that maybe you've learned through ordering or eating out, I'd love to hear about those or let me know if you have any questions. Um, share, share with us. Here on the Procare site, www.procarenow.com. If you've never heard of Procare, get a free sample. On the main page here, I will copy that and paste it in the chat box if you're on the live event. Just procarenow.com. And when you get there, guys, there is interested in a free sample. Click here. You can request free samples. I believe your bariatric facility also gets samples. So check with them to see what they got available. Under ProCare, when you get here, tell you a little bit here are multivitamins. We have the calcium, the therapeutics, protein. That's all listed under our products. If you're not sure what to take, we have this new fun little vitamin quiz, which is fun. When you click on that, it'll give you some recommendations of products that might be suited best for you based on your bariatric surgery, based on if you're female or male, based on all different kinds of things. So go in there and take that quiz. It's kind of just a fun little thing to check out. We're also newly opening a rewards program that is currently under the works. We started it and then we're going back in and we're redoing just some things. If you've earned some points on our loyalty rewards, don't worry, they're not going away. They're still there. But that loyalty rewards is being upgraded. So that is still in the works. We have a subscribe and save. If you subscribe to any of our products on a month-to-month, or you can set it at every 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever you want to set it on, you get a reduced rate. That can be canceled at any point, guys. You don't have to always be um, worried about that. We have a customer service number that we have live representatives who speak English that can talk to you. They're live and local, that can talk to you about any of our products that you have questions about, and then the resource page. Guys, I also want to mention we have this Berry Connected, and many of you that is on the Facebook group have probably heard about this because I post monthly on there on our events. This month we had Stephanie Wagner, who's also calls herself the bariatric food coach. And I had to tease her because honestly, she's one of the dietitians that's probably been a pioneer. I called her a pioneer because she has been around. I think she said her she has a online service and I think she's been around for over 15 years as far as in the bariatric community. So she's probably like really one of the first dietitians that was out there. There's a lot of them now out there helping patients and doing things like that, but online. So that was a great support group that we just had. She talked about food clarity at every stage, what to expect, how to stay confident. You can still actually click onto that and register and watch that. So if you're like looking for another support forum, I collect data on who attends those. So I'll be sending that to your group as well. I collect data on this group. So if you're attending here tonight, on the live version on Zoom, will be sending that to your facility. If you're if you're listening to a replay, I don't always get all of that data because of the way the data is collected if you're listening on the Facebook page, for example. So you can always press reply and you can talk to your or replay and talk to your facility and see if you're required to attend so many support groups prior to surgery. Some facilities are like that. Just wanted to give you more options. We also put all of our replays for our public events on our YouTube channel and also on our podcast. So basically going to show you how to get onto those. Our YouTube channel is called Co-Care Health Vitamins and Supplements. And guys, we have over 520 some videos here, 523 videos. There should be a subscribe button. If you subscribe, anytime anything is added, you should get a YouTube notification on that. So that's a fun way of learning, of getting more. Steph's is already on our YouTube channel, so you're welcome to go in and watch that. But we have all different kinds of wonderful topics. And if you're looking for something specific, it's likely we have it. Like you could click on this search button and type in, like, let's say you type in, here's Rodolfo's own sabotage. So let's type in sabotage or this part of that word so that we catch all of them. And so there's 3 events on that. Let's do hair loss. And you will see all the different videos that pop up with that. So some of those are from influencers and some are from our support groups on different things. So that's a great resource, guys, if you're looking for something for more content on a specific topic or whatever. Check out that. We also on that Very Connected page, if I go back there, let's see. We have a Facebook page. It's called Berry Connect, or I'm sorry, Berry Connect, I believe. And then our Facebook group is called Berry Connected. So join those because we have a support community and we'd love for you to be part of that. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, see if there's comments, and then I'll pop back on there and talk a little bit about some of the other things. So okay, I don't see any additional comments, so we'll kind of keep going. I'll share just a little bit more. We do have a special going right now. I want to show you on the main page of the ProCare site. We have stay ahead of the season, support your immune defense and recovery with 25% off select wellness essentials. So when you click onto that, it's going to lead you to this page, which has a 25% off discount. And some of these are even more than that, guys. Like our wound support, if you're just getting ready to have bariatric surgery, you've had another surgery, maybe back surgery or knee surgery or plastic surgery, wound support is amazing. It has some wonderful, wonderful things to support healing. We also have magnesium D, vitamin D3 on there. Our new iron, which is a chelated iron. So if you're iron deficient, needing to add some extra iron, or you're not tolerating your iron and your multivitamin, you could take a multivitamin that's iron free and add in an iron supplement. This was created in a chelated iron, which is really well tolerated for those of you who might suffer from nausea from iron supplements. And it comes in 60 milligrams, but the tablet is bifurcated, so you could pop it in half and take 30 if you decide that's what you like. Also, for those of you who need extra fat-soluble vitamins, we have an ADEK and a probiotic. For ADEK is for those who might be deficient in fat-soluble vitamins. The probiotic is for gut health. Gut health is one of those things, if you're suffering from constipation or problems with that after surgery, which is super common, probiotics have been known to be really, really beneficial. So that is everything I have. I don't see any questions. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here, spending time on yourself, and being a part of the conversation. Appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I'll be putting the full edition of this event on your bariatric Facebook group following this. It usually takes it about 30 minutes for us to get the replay. for it to show up for me. So I will get that on the page so that it'll be there for you guys to watch again if you'd like to go back and review. And I thank each of you for spending time for yourself. So take care, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye, guys.